Hello, good evening. Hope that everything is good. Hello, good evening. So, hello, good evening to everyone watching. It would look as like everyone has loaded up now. And tonight we are at Las Vegas for round 2. So, reading through the current standings is not gonna be exactly super fascinating because there's only been one round. And just to recap last week. Oh yeah, you hate Vegas, don't you? Yeah, I mean, good luck still. You had a pretty good showing last week. So yeah, last week Tomid was the winner. It was a close fight with the other Tom in the field, but because Tomid is only a reserve, I don't think he's even allowed to be full-time due to his pace, but he didn't want a full-time seat, I don't believe anyway. So we have Tom GoProf in the lead of the actual championship, followed by Rapid, and those were two people that we knew were going to contend for the championship. But then we have a bit of a surprise, or not really as a surprise as much as someone who made their debut last week, and that's Pac. Oh, it's not full wet conditions in Las Vegas. It's full wet conditions in Las Vegas. It's recreating the actual qualifying from real life from last year, and this has immediately thrown a spanner in the works, but I'm just going to quickly continue through the standings. So we got Puko in P3, who made his debut last week and was quite close to getting a podium. Then we got Engine, obviously the champion from Season 6. In P4, obviously, two-stop strategy last week didn't work. Then we got another new driver, Alex Hendricks. Then we got Ian, who obviously had a massive drive last week. I think he just straight up either beat or tied his best finish from last season, just last week in the first round. So it remains to be seen if Ian can keep that up on other tracks. And then after that we got Chichi, Josh, BX Pro or Unknown Pro as he's known now, and Welsh Benjamin rounding off the top 10 for the time being. And Nimra, our trusty reserve, has taken it upon himself to be the first person to venture out onto this greasy, absolutely greasy, soaking wet track, and he's gonna try. He has to try and find a drying line. I don't think there is one though. I have to say, obviously being on PS5, my TV not being that good, I don't really get high-end graphics, but it still looks really good with the lights, with the shiny surface and with all the droplets all around in the air. And he's sliding on the straight. I mean, I think he just clipped the wall there a little bit as well. And that would be the pointers that you can look to and just for yourself how treacherous that track is right now. I don't know if was it gonna be in the race. I mean, hopefully for everyone's sake, I hope it's dry, but yeah, I have no way to check that. And about Las Vegas, on a surface level, it looks like basically Monza with the walls being a little bit closer to the track, but it's a little bit more technical than Monza. You have turns 3 and 4, which are in Sector 1, and actually I'm gonna talk about them as he goes through them. So Nimra starting his lap now, obviously this is turn 1. Then you got turn 2, and then you got this section that I was talking about. And it's a high-speed section, but still quite technical, which you're not gonna see here because he had to completely lift off and just calls through the corner. But it's a technical high-speed section in the dry, and then you've got the end of Sector 1 and the beginning of Sector 2 that he's coming up to, and these corners, basically this sequence here from turn 5, turn 6, turn 7, turn 8, even turn 9 a little bit, all quite technical, I think more technical than anything you will find in Monza. So the challenge is already a bit more than it is in Monza, and then when you are running like 4.0 wings, some people probably lower than that, and then you just add that much rain, it just becomes that much harder. But Nimra has so far managed to navigate himself through the walls. Alpine for the second week in a row, no full-time representative. But Nimra is back for his second consecutive week as a reserve, and we also got Curly back. I don't even know when his last race was with us here in FLR, but it must have been back in Season 6. So welcome back, Curly. And he's in the other Alpine full-time drivers, just not available. Then behind Nimra, I think we got either. Actually, I'm gonna check. We got, I think, Chichi on an out lap. No, sorry, he's on a flying lap, and he just clipped the wall there, and he's obviously on inters. And as you may know, inters usually much better in this game than wets, especially in race trim, and that's gonna be no contest, and just immediately proving what I said. That's 3.5 seconds faster immediately. So I think obviously the rain is not gonna help, but I think Nimra might have been overheating those wets as well. And we got Engine 1.3 seconds out in front right now, obviously looking to kick off his championship challenge. Panda, I think a full-time driver now, feeling in that Alpine. And if I'm correct in saying, that Ferrari there, that might be my chassis from last season. Yeah, that is my chassis from last season, so I hope Panda can take good care of it, but I have trust in him that he will. He's usually good at taking care of his cars. Unknown Pro has spun or had some kind of moment down at turn 1, obviously to be expected. Ice One still on wets, but you would have to say, based on just the track visuals, it's definitely crossed over well into the Inters territory, so it would be best for him to rush back into the pits and throw off those overheating blue boots and just go to the Inters. And while I was yapping, we had a bunch of other people, actually more than half the grid set their times. So as it stands, it's actually a kick 1-2, although Engine is more than a second ahead of Marshall. we're just gonna have a look at how the Domi now puts himself up into P2. Now we see how the other championship protagonists are coping. Rapid in P4 can certainly do more, but he was on wets. So as I was saying, they are not performing at their optimal window right now. Tom and Josh, both of the McLarens, also on wets right now. Obviously Tom, our current championship leader, so we see how he manages this. A little bit hesitant on the brake. You could see that after he trail braked, he went fully off the brake and then he just put a little tap of it on again. So clearly not that confident in the car slowing down. It's not gonna be at the top, but it's gonna be pretty close to it, especially considering that Engine set his time on Inters. And here's Engine, I think he's fueled up, I think he's going for another round. Obviously Chuck is gonna be improving, you can see it by the visual. It's just much less misty than it was at the start of the session. And we just go on board here. I'm actually gonna go off the telemetry for just a sec, just to enjoy our former champion taking us around the Las Vegas circuit in this shiny green car, which is still called Kick-Sauber in the game. Obviously, it's gonna be Audi, and it's gonna be a little bit darker, but just a lot less green. Taking that curve nicely, now he's gonna angle it to turn into this quite slow speed left-hander. On the power, on the battery, you can see at the bottom of the screen there, he was using battery on the exit, he's still using battery, he now turns it off. Now he's gonna set up for this 90-degree left, which is a medium speed corner, taking that curve nicely, a little bit of contact with the outside wall, but you can get away with that, unless you are on like full sim damage. Obviously now he's gonna burn his battery again and burn through it a lot, which is a good place to do on this straight. We're gonna get the telemetry back to see what kind of lap time he is aiming for. Chichi, while we're on board with Engine, Chichi has put himself on top by quite a margin. So looking good for Chichi, who said earlier that he was not fully certain he was gonna make this race, but he is here and he is on top right now, and it's gonna be close with Engine. Actually, it's not close, it's 6:10, so the track clearly improving. Alex Hendrick is not on a flyer, Domi is on a flyer though. Ian, can he improve? Yes, by a second, so definitely major improvement on the track. You could see Tom there changing his wets for Inters, and if I was Puko, I would just pit here. Yeah, he does exactly what I said. I would just pit here. I mean, wets are clearly useless by this stage. We're now gonna go on board with our debutant for this evening, Brian Vanderberg, who I believe is actually full-time in the Williams. There were a few shuffles, drivers just dropping out, some drivers just not responding to us at all, and some new interesting people joining as well and being interested in seats. So there's been a few shuffles, and we'll see how Brian Vandenberg handles this chassis. This Williams battery looking like chassis. Well, Benjamin, the only other person not to have a time so far, and we have an off by an Alpine, and he's gonna rejoin the track quite dangerously. I mean, that was just not on. That was just not on, in my opinion. I mean, that was Cadley on an outlap, I believe, and that was just really unfortunate, and it was a dangerous rejoin in my opinion. I think Brian had to back off a little bit, or in any case he was thrown off by that happening. But he's continuing on his lap, and I think he's actually not continuing with the intent to push, because he just braked in a straight and he was already none. So yeah, I think he backed off after that incident. What else have we got? So our championship contenders currently on outlaps, and Domi is up, but he is invalidated. Alex Hendrick has just gone up into P2, quite close with Chichi, but that's all gonna change. 7 minutes left. The track is gonna dry a lot more than this. Has Tom just broke his wing on an outlap? Can I go to a broadcast cam, or is just not gonna just enjoy that? I think Tom might have just broken his wing on an out lap. I don't know what happened there. And he just skipped completely across the track so far out that the camera just couldn't catch up to him for a few seconds. And I think something's gone wrong with those end plates there. Yeah, I think he's missing both of them actually. So he still has enough time, well enough time, but I wonder if that's gonna hurt his confidence. Yeah, Curly is back in FLR. This is his first race in what, like 9 months? 10 months? I don't even know. He's just come back, and I think he might have already impeded someone. Unfortunately, for him. Panda has just gone into P3, so now the Ferraris are charging up towards that sharp end of the standings. Domi pitted after invalidating the previous lap. Unknown Pro is up. And here's a massive tank slapper. I mean, there are some quick guys, but you know, none of them are as quick as the person who is narrating over the action, obviously. So it's not like he's racing the best of the best, because it would just be boring otherwise. I'm just kidding. Anyway, Rapid just went in with a new top time, and Tom Go probably was unable to respond because he had that massive he had that massive mishap, shall I say, on his outlap. Now we got Puko, who obviously was one of the last people to switch to Inters, and the car is still a little bit lively on the rear there. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get cocky or anything. I'm just at this awkward spot where I'm I'm among the fastest people who are allowed to be full-time drivers, and I'm also more consistent than the other people who are close to my pace, so I can just get a top 4 finish in every race. And that's why I won the championship with like 2 races left last season. And this season is looking a bit more competitive, especially since they will probably miss races as well. I don't really miss races. As Puko now goes to the top with a 42.8, quite close, actually only a 10th and a bit. I mean, I'm not too good for it. The only people too good for it are the people who are straight up told by Marshall that you are too fast to hold a full-time seat. Such as Tom Eat, who won last week. And obviously Seb and Tape, who were kicked at the end of last year. But before that they were told that they were too fast to hold a full-time seat. Barnard's, I think he's just letting people pass, or actually there's no one near there. Okay. Let's stay on board with Ian. Obviously Ian, it was his birthday last week and he managed to pick up the Driver of the Day award from myself, not from the game. And he's 2 seconds up at the moment, which is gonna run close to the top time, but I wonder if he fueled enough to go for another run, because the track is just drying, improving all the time. As you can see, Marshall come to the line, and I think he was aiming to go for another lap anyway, because he barely used that battery. And now I'm probably not gonna be able to catch all of the action because everything is gonna change very quickly. Got people on outlaps, we got Unknown Pro pitting, and he's gonna struggle. Actually, I don't think he will make it back out again. Ice One goes past, says 4 tenths ahead of Rapid at the moment, 4.5 tenths even. And I think that's it. I think he's gonna miss out on another lap. Puko has gone purple in sector 1. There is a car, and Puko has invalidated, but I think from where he is on track, he will have time to go for another lap, but we will have to wait and see. We got an Alpine on the start-finish line, and I think they're on a lap right now. That will be Curly, right? Yeah, Curly improves by 1.8 up to P14 for him. I'm just looking where the next car is. Oh my days. Yeah, I'm not very good at this commentating thing, but that's the other Alpine, and he is pitting, so we're not gonna have to worry about that. Josh, I think this is his final flying lap, or he might be able to go again. I mean, he has battery, just depends if he has the fuel. Up next we got Barnard, who is only gonna be starting a lap. Then we have a Red Bull, I think that's the Red Bull of Spartan, and he is up, so it's gonna be an improvement of 1.5 seconds, losing a little bit of time in the last sector. We got a kick and then Ferrari coming across the line. They're gonna start the laps. Unknown Pro is out, so he's gonna do no more. We got a blue car coming up to the line and starting his lap. His teammate also is gonna be starting his lap. There's a Merc coming across as well, I think also starting his lap. I wondered if Engine was on the lap. No, Engine is back here. That was the other kick. And I wonder what's happened there. I mean, whatever happened, that Tom just has to carry on here and just try and get a lap in, because he is P18. And he is 1.8 seconds up in just sector 1. The first person to come across the line is gonna be Cadley, but he's not improving at all, and he's not using battery. Yeah, 23 was the one where he won like 19 out of 22 races. Trust me, I wouldn't be anywhere near that percentage. My whole thing is that I just finish top four every time. I don't even win that often. Like basically my 2 championships was that I just finished top 4 like every week. Back to the action, we got Josh, and now the checkered flag is well and truly out. Ice One, Paco, Alex Hendricks, Niemra, and Kelly, and Unknown Pro, and Rasilkan will do no more. What can Josh do? Comes across the line, 9 tenths of improvement, puts him up to P2 right now. Barnes now comes across the line, and the Ferrari goes fastest with a 41.4, currently a second on top for him. Engine is now coming to the line. The battery is very, very flashy. He comes across the line, Panda up to P3. There's a McLaren coming across, that is Tom, who puts himself up to P2. Rapid, the other of the championship protagonists, the last one to cross the line. He's giving it everything, and he goes on to pole. Only 11 thousandths over Engine. 40.3 for Rapid right now. Can anyone respond to that? Marshall goes P3, so the kicks are both up there, and the sharp end that has relegated Tom to P2. And we look now for Spartan, who is not improving. So the last person is going to be Brian Vanderberg, and unfortunately on his debut he can do no better than last on this occasion, but that is a very, very close margin for Paul. It was changeable conditions. We got Rapid in P1, Engine in P2, Ian in P3. I mean, surely this will be like Ian's best qualifying result in this league in a couple years. I think back in season 1 he was on the front row at one point. I think something like that. But anyway, this is Ian's best quality result here in a long time. Tongo Prof salvaging what he could at the end. Obviously there was some collision with someone. It was so hectic I even forgot who it was with. It was with Spartan, and I don't actually think Tom got a pen for that. No, Tom also got a pen for that. So Tom will start in P9 actually. And that is not what you want to see when you're leading the championship. Obviously, many overtaking opportunities here, but you have to be really committed and smart to make those opportunities work, because obviously there is the tendency for the RS trains to just build up. And if you get caught up in the chain, if the next 2 cars ahead of you have DRS, it's really hard to make a move. So I think I covered the top 5. So the rest of the order is Chichi, Panda, Ben, Ice One, Josh, Puko, Rusty, Spartan, Unknown Pro, Alex Hendricks, Domi, Nimra, Kerley, and Brian Vandenberg. That is your grid order, and I will see what the weather is for the race itself. Hopefully everything in the lobby is set correctly. Obviously there was a little thing with the preseason where there was no formation lap, and also the race got started after a minute, which it should be 5 minutes. I mean, it is the idea of the owners to give everyone 5 minutes to get ready. Someone has just left, haven't they? I was looking away, I didn't see who it was. That was Barnes, I think. Yeah, it was Barnes. I don't think I have him added. I mean, I'm gonna look, but I mean, I got Dummy. I added him last week, and I got Spartan, but I don't think I have Barnes added. I'm just gonna go through, just see. Okay, he's managed to rejoin anyway. It's fine. It's fine. Should be fine. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. Oh, Puko is going as well. So there were two disconnections there. I don't think I got him either. We're gonna go through and he's managed to rejoin as well. So thankfully the other directors being very swift with helping people join back, I would assume. And I'm just gonna take a quick break just to save my voice for the shouting on the opening lap, really. And the formation lap is underway, which is actually quite early. Might be a restart if someone doesn't move. But I think everyone is reacting just fine, so I think we are good. We have a quick look through the tire selection. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to find it. And it's quite a bit more straightforward than last week. We got every single person mediums with the exception of Panda, who has gone for an interesting choice. I think it's interesting to go for hards from P6. I mean, surely you would just want to hang onto the front pack. Like, if you just had a bad quali and are in the midfield and know that it's not your pace, then it's good to go hards. But if he got a good position in the drying conditions quali, I don't think it's that good of a call to go hard. But then again, Panda has been racing for longer than I have, so maybe he just knows something I don't. From what I remember, Las Vegas kind of a low deck circuit, but that term is relative on this year's game. There are no real low deck circuits like we used to have on previous instances, but it should be an easy one-stop. We got Rapid leading the way in that beautiful pink Visa livery, and hopefully the cam is nice for me for the start of this race. We'll see how it goes from here. Obviously Rapid engine the championship contender, so definitely by pace they would be at the front here, but you're gonna have Tom coming through the pack. You're gonna have some people, unfortunately for them, sadly, I think dropping back because some people just overshift in giant conditions, and some people just definitely did not get the kind of last run that they would want. Yeah, I can see Chichi wanting restart, but I can't just call a restart. That would have to be Ian. So it just depends on whether he saw that. I don't hold enough power to call a restart, unfortunately, and we're gonna get underway. Hopefully Chichi isn't too mad, but the lights are coming on. And we should be underway. There's some ghosting there. Hopefully no issues arise from that. And Engine is on the inside of Rapid in 210-1, but Rapid breaks later and he's gonna maintain the lead with Barnard's. In P3 he's making a little bit of contact with the McLaren. As Rapid and Engine go side by side, actually they have cleared the pack behind them by like a second or so. And I saw in the background a pack of cars descending onto Panda, who was obviously the lone person on hards. Yeah, there were quite a few DSQs I saw, like at least 5. But Engine takes the lead, so he gains a position on the opening lap as we go through the technical section. And Engine is going to be front. We got a McLaren behind, which is Tom Goprov gaining 6 positions. So Tom Goprov, a major beneficiary from those shenanigans in those first corners, and just doing what he needs to do to stay with his championship rivals and don't lose points to them. Ben, also shout out to him for another great start. We're just going to look at position changes. We got actually Alex Hendrick, the best start of anyone, up 8. Ian, I think, got tagged around just off screen, or just I didn't catch it. So unfortunately, I don't think Ian will be continuing his good results from last week. Panda, all in all, not coming out that bad from that, considering he is on hards compared to everyone else on the softer mediums. And Alex Hendrick up 9 positions, so I think a lot, just on the opening lap alone, he has made up more positions than he made through the entire race last week. I believe he went from P13 to P6 last week. I'm gonna invite Domi. Unfortunately, it has happened to him again. He had this exact thing happen last week. Where are you? Oh my days. Where is he? Am I being like blind or something? I'm just gonna have a look again in a minute. I can't seem to find him right now, even though I know I have him as a friend. So for the moment, we got Engine breaking out of the RS. From Rapid, but Rapid is just hanging on to that. Welsh Benjamin has lost the RS, and Unknown Pro has disconnected. Like, what is going on? There are so many disconnections happening today. Can I invite them yet, or? Oh, he's back here. Okay. So that should be an invite. You should have an invite right now. I'm just gonna send a second one in case it decides to go funny. For some reason, you're showing up all the way down here. Oh, actually, I think you're online now. I think it's gonna be okay now. That's off, blah, 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 blah. Here you go. Okay, that should work now. Yeah, I mean, I do agree. I mean, like, there is not much worse luck you can get than 2 disconnections in 2 weeks, really. But definitely last week it was just you. This night something's going on. I've already had 3 other people disconnect, so hopefully that invite's gone through. Back to the action though, we got Engine still in P1, obviously not much change in that department. Rapid with less battery than him, but still hanging onto the RS, and the championship contenders are running away. Alex Hendrick has managed to close the gap to Welsh Benjamin. And he, as we already saw from him last week, he really likes to save his battery. quite nicely, and he's gaining, he's gonna open the RS, and he's just gonna make that move straight away after opening the RS. I mean, not much content from Welsh Benjamin there, I don't know what he could have done. And Alex Hendricks making up a lot of places. A lot of places. Sorry, that's in the detail thing. 10 places. 10 places made up. We're just gonna have a look-see through the grid. Panda is hanging on nicely, but he's under pressure from Puko. And he's gonna... Puko almost was able to draw his front wheels alongside Panda's rears at the beginning of that high-speed technical section. We got a spin! We got a spin! Unfortunately, Ben had an off, and I think it was by himself, unfortunately, just on the exit of that high-speed section. Unfortunately, conceding 5 positions. We're just gonna see if he has any damage. Not any that I can see. Yeah, I can try again, sure. We got Josh leading this little battle pack. He's got 3 people behind him in the DRS chain. Obviously, Ben being the newest arrival to that, so Domi has managed to rejoin, and I think Unknown Pro is also back in. No, Unknown Pro is not back in. So hopefully he will be able to rejoin as well. And we got Puko making that move on Josh, and we got Panda making that move on Josh, while Ben is just looking on. As I said before, it's hard to overtake in a DRS chain, but Panda and Puko just both managing to get past Josh, who obviously was the leader of that chain, and thus he did not have DRS himself. And Josh, there's gotta be a 2-stop. There's gotta be a 2-stop. I mean, I don't think in a competitive race, and there is another yellow there. Rapid has now spun. Rapid has made a mistake as well. Rapid has made a mistake as well, and that is just what you have to avoid when you're fighting for championships. And as you can see, case in point, this is one of the reasons why I won that championship last season. It's not that I'm like super fast or too fast for the league or anything, it's just that the people who are close on pace to me just make mistakes and miss races essentially. And you just saw a mistake there from Rapid, a rare one, but a mistake nonetheless. We're just gonna have a look over his car, and his end plate is off on the left hand side, so not managing to avoid damage as well as Ben did, and that's gonna hamper him now. He's got Ice One right behind him in P5, and obviously he's got that chain coming up to him shortly. And now Tongo Pro from P9, he's trying to take the lead from Engine, and they're gonna be side by side as they come out of the last actual corner on the track. Engine remains out in front, but Tongo Pro is on him with more battery. So Tom might be turning the tide from last week, even though he was battling someone else last week. But this week, he might have better battery management than the person he is fighting. And obviously also having the benefit on his side of the fact that Las Vegas is infinitely easier. Yeah, I mean, GRL has produced some great racers, obviously Tom being right in the center of that, him being the very founder and owner of GRL. I don't know how long exactly Tom has been in league racing, but I have known him for about exactly 4 years right now, and unfortunately we see Ben DNF, so that is unfortunate. Yeah, but I've known Tom for about 4 years, and yeah, I mean GRL is where I met all of you, like shortly, actually it was shortly after I joined GRL myself, like 2 months later, like 2 weeks later, Curly joined to do comms. And then like 2 months after that, Ian joined. And then everyone else from really like the FLR core group joined like in the following weeks after Ian. And actually, like the entire like FLR core group, with the exception of like Rapid, who was not in GRL yet at the time, and with the exception of Tom, we were all actually in the same tier for a bit. Like myself, Panda, Ian, Josh, might have also been Ben and like Wapstappen. We were all actually in one tier for a moment. But we saw Tom take the lead there from Engine, and he is now out in front. It remains to be seen if he can still be on top of his battery management when he doesn't have the RS. However, obviously both of these guys very smart, multiple times winners. Tom a 2-time champion of FLR, Engine a 1-time champion. These guys know how to get it done and how to come out on top, out on track. We've got Alex Hendricks up in P3 right now, obviously after Rapid made that mistake. And Alex Hendricks making up 12 positions. He had an impressive race in its own right last week, and now he's just set off to better it, and better it a lot. He's far behind the top two, but he almost has just as big of a margin over the next guy behind him himself. So he's looking comfy in P3, which is not what you can say about Rapid. Obviously Rapid, we got a little bit of racing here. Curly on the back of Chichi, who is out of battery. So he is flashing, but Curly is not using overtake, so he is not pushing to make this move into the braking zone. But someone who is pushing to make a move into the braking zone is Barnards. Ian just managing to stay in front there, about the same ERS level. Barnards not using his battery right now, he remains in medium deployment. If we go to this king, which is actually like the start-finish straight, but it's really a king. Into 10-1 we go, another DRS zone coming up. So it remains to be seen whether Barnes will be able to sink his nose up alongside Marshall into the next braking zone. It looks like he's quite a bit behind, and Ian also using the ERS there just to pull out that much of a gap. And Tom, either that just being his pace or that being his tire and battery management, he has managed to break out of the DRS of Engine. And that is not good news for Engine, especially considering these guys still have to go at least 2-3 more laps if they want to make it into the optimal pit window for this track. So Tom in his element right now. If I'm correct on that, I think Tom enjoys this track quite a bit. Engine also taking that curve really awkwardly. I think that cost him, actually, it could have cost him, but it gained him time. But he also had to use battery there. They are both below 10%, so they would both be losing engine power down straights because they are below 10% on the ERS. Engine also having a little bit of a slide. Not usually what you see from the Kicksauber driver. He's usually very, very clinical with his driving, with his inputs, with everything. We got Ice One here getting overtaken by Panda, so those Haars are coming into the round now. Ice One was thinking about re-challenging there, but Panda ultimately just had the measure on him. And Panda up into P6. Rapid still managing to hold on with that broken wing, but he is ailing. He doesn't have DRS, he doesn't have both M plates, and most certainly he doesn't have enough fuel to finish this race as it stands right now. We're just gonna go on board with Puko. Obviously, Puko already looking to be stringing together solid results in the opening two races, and you just build that up over time. A streak of 2 good results can easily be converted into 3 good results if you put the work in, into 4 good results, 5 good results. Someone misses a race, and before you know it, you are a championship contender, and that is what Puko definitely has the potential to do. He's right on the back of that pink Visa. I think he is aiming to make this move on this lap, on this very straight. DRS is wide open. Battery is being deployed, and he should be way clear of Rapid before they even reach the braking zone. As you can see, the two cars with special liveries racing there, and the orange Williams is out in front of the pink Visa, who just had a massive snap as well. And now we got Panda challenging Rapid and getting ahead. Obviously, Rapid and Panda have raced alongside each other for years, so they're not gonna battle unnecessarily, just not get in danger of getting involved in any incidents. We got Curly into the pits, which is close for a one-stopper, but it should be still fine for him nonetheless. We got Chichi on the back of Marshall. Marshall has the arrest from Barnard's, who he just got overtaken by quite recently. And Chichi just not unable to get alongside at the moment. Tom, I think he is, I'm definitely convinced he was baiting engine there. He has quite enough battery, he just wanted to get the DRS, so he went into none. He's now gonna use his battery to try and re-challenge engine. He's gonna go to the inside. And they're gonna go side by side with each other into the braking zone, and engine just ahead there. He had to kind of bunny hop over the curb. On the outside, but he is ahead. Now Tom is using his battery. I think engine might be in on this lap. He was angling towards the pit lane, and indeed he is in that pit lane right now. Undercut, quite powerful here. If you execute it, you can definitely gain up to 2 seconds, maybe more than that, over a single lap. So Tom, for his sake, he hopefully saved up a little bit of tires to just negate that undercut. We're gonna have a few more people pitting here. We got Rapid, obviously, so we'll just stay on board with him to see if that wing gets changed, and we'll just get that wing is getting changed, so obviously it was affecting him enough for him to decide to put that onto yes, and that will now be way aerodynamically better. The Visas double stacking, which is exactly what they did last week as well, but last week the gap was a little bit bigger, so I think Chichi unfortunately getting a little bit compromised, and I don't think this race has been going Chichi's way. I mean, from his calls for and we have a spin from Spartan. Unfortunately, I just caught the the middle end of that. Pieces of wing were flying. I don't know what he's doing right now. Maybe he's just being cautious not to impede anyone, which is fair enough, but unfortunately both Red Bulls coming a cropper in the exact same part of the circuit in this race. The other Red Bull is not even in the race anymore, has not been for a few laps. And Spartan conceding both of his end plates there. Curly becomes the first person to pick up a track limits penalty in this race. Tongo Prof now into the pits. I think Alex Hendricks, sorry, there was a battle there, I just glossed over that. We got Panda side by side with Puko, and he is ahead there of Puko. Puko, I think, will be coming into the pits on this lap, but we have to go to Tom to see where he measures up against Engine. He's gonna be on this pit lane exit, and he is behind Engine. Not just behind Engine, he is out of his DRS, and that was a massive undercut by Engine. I said 2 seconds, Engine 2.6 seconds gained on Tom. With that maneuver, we got quite the host of drivers in the pits right now. We got Puko in the pits, Rusty in the pits, Ian in the pits, Rusty in the pits, I said that already, Ice1 in the pits, Barnard's in the pit, Josh in the pits for his second stop, so he will be going to the end on the same sequence as these other hard runners. And Rapid in cleaner right now, even despite that front wing change. Obviously the undercut still took its effect. We got a yellow flag there, I think just someone going slowly. I don't think there was any other spins there, but now there is a spin. Or is it still someone going slowly? It was just a very brief yellow. Spartan getting a 10-second time penalty for spinning in the pit lanes, actually just adding to the list of obstacles that he'll have to overcome. Obviously his wings, or his front wing in any case, was already damaged. And now he also has a 10-second time penalty. We got Barnes on the back of Rusty. Alex Hendricks becomes the last person to go off of his starting mediums. We'll see how much ground he would have lost by staying that much extra compared to the other guys. Barnard, he can definitely go for this move here. He had enough overspeed to go side by side into the braking zone. A little bit of contact, hopefully no damage for either car, and Barnard does get ahead of Rusty. This is a battle for a real position. There's not any strategy shenanigans going on here. Exact same age tires, exact same tire compound, and right now, essentially, sharing the exact same spot on track. Rusty thought about re-challenging there, but ultimately there was nothing to be done. And Alex Hendricks comes out in quite a safe P3, net P3 still. We got a battle between Chichi and Josh. They're side by side, down to the entire length of the shorter DRS straight, and Josh is out in front in the McLaren. Chichi will just have to stay behind on this occasion. He taps the wall as well, but just the slightest bit. He's not going to get any wing damage on that on standard settings. Josh bunny hopping the curb on the approach to chicane as well. We're just gonna check in with these guys, and then we're gonna go back to Josh and Chichi to see if they're doing anything interesting. Barnard just seems to be driving away from Rusty at this point in time, but he is not anywhere near to dropping him out of the DRS at this stage yet. Chichi using his battery. Josh has way more battery. He has like what? 30 times as much battery. Now Chichi is gonna have to just his battery was too depleted there. I think he was just hoping to have a sniff, but Josh had way more battery. He didn't even need to use it. Chichi's battery was completely depleted. He was not gaining anymore. So now the question is, when will Panda pit, and how far will he be able to climb once he gets onto those mediums and gets entire advantage over everyone else? And Anon Pro has still not rejoined, so I'm just gonna note that in the stream that he is, unless he rejoins in like the next 5 laps or so, he's not gonna be classified as a finisher, because we do require that the driver has to actually be in control of the car and actually achieving his result. So as it stands, he's not going to be classified as a finisher. Only a few people are within the RS range of each other, and the higher positioned pair of those people are Rusty and Ian, so we'll see if Ian will be able to go for this move. Obviously, Ian losing many places on lap 1, but he's now looking to climb back Panda pits. You can see the prancing horse there in the lane, so we'll just see where he filters out. Ian trying the outside of Rusty into that braking zone, but when you have overspeed, when you're trying to make a move, you really have to go to the inside. The inside is just a lot better there. Unfortunately, it was not available for Ian on that occasion, and he will have to stay behind. Rusty also getting quite a nice speed boost in that third sector, and he's got back into the RS of Barnard's. But Barnard's now pulling the gap again. Rusty picks up the RS for this straight. He might not get it for the other straight, so he will have to make the most of it. Panda comes out in P6, as you can see, that's just ahead of Ice 1 and 3.8 seconds to wrap it. So not a bad strategy from Panda in the end. I knew I shouldn't have really doubted him. We have a crash at the final corner, and I think there were 2 cars involved, and those were indeed Nimra and Spartan in the battle for P16 and P17. And the leaders are coming up. Thankfully we have ghosting in this league, so it was not going to affect them. I think Nimra's race might be over here. He's going to be lapped as engine completes lap 15, and that is unfortunately a pitting quit for the reserve for the 2nd week in a row. It just didn't go his way, and we turn our attentions back to Ian. Did Rusty pick up the RS? There is the question. He did not. and Ian is gonna be gaining, but he's not gonna be gaining enough. I mean, it's funny to say that this straight was not long enough for Ian to make a move, but on that occasion it was, even though it's one of the longest straights you will ever see. Chichi picks up physical time penalty, and Spartan picks up... What is he doing? Spartan picking up 10-second time penalty, which is worrying. You don't really want to be picking up 10 seconds. So right now for pens we got Chichi and Kelly each with 3, and if I remember correctly Spartan would be on 20, sorry. So we're just gonna come back, we got, so Josh has now pulled away from Chichi, so now these are the only people who are getting the RS, and that's, well, Angel might be getting the RS from Spartan, to be honest, but the only people who are fighting for position and having the RS for each other, this is the group that we're on right now. We're just gonna go into broadcast cam for a little bit just to enjoy the view. I mean, not much happening right now. The field is quite a little bit spread out. We'll see if Ian can muster up another charge at the Haas of Rusty. Obviously home race for Haas on this occasion, and if I'm correct in saying, I think it is for Rusty as a driver as well. So looking for a good result, top 10 would be nice. Anything further in the top 10 would be a bonus. Or even nicer, should I say, really. Ian just not able to make an impact. Obviously that's straight, no DRS, and it's not really a straight, it's a king, isn't it? It's just not long enough either way. While nothing is happening, we'll just have a quick look through position change. So Alex Hendricks up 11 positions from P14. So after already going from P13 to P6 last week, he is making that much more of it this week. Also, shout out to Puko, who, as I said, has the potential to be a contender here in FLR, gaining 7 positions. And we also got a few people with 4 gained. We actually have another spin for Spartan, who has been involved in quite a few incidents this race, and even in qualifying. So I don't think he's getting to grips with this track. If I remember correctly from like some charts in the preseason, he is also quite a bit, quite fresh to this game franchise in O. So definitely still getting to grips with it. And this track, well, I'll just tell you, it's not it's far from the easiest set. Like, it's not. It will not be included in any set of tracks that you will give to a beginner to drive on. That's for sure. It's low downforce, it's low grip. It has quite a few technical sections, as I said at some point earlier on the stream. And this is the battle, but just nothing is really happening. And this is another thing that I said about earlier on the stream. When you have 2 cars ahead of you, and you have DRS, but the car directly ahead also has DRS, it's not that easy to make the move, but Ian is managing to do so. That is not the broadcast cam game, but okay, this is just a rebranded onboard cam. It's not a broadcast cam, but anyway. Ian did try his best to prove me wrong, but unfortunately not managing to do so. Was not able to complete that move. Now he's gonna enjoy this dirty air again through the technical sections. He's gonna have another job at it when they get to that longest straight on the track. Rusty saving battery, Ian saving battery. Rusty now well and truly out of the DRS of Barnard's, and this is an opportunity for Ian. Rusty ever so wide of the apex there. Not a lot, but enough to grab my attention. And Ian is gonna be side by side with Rusty down the straight. I think this might be finally the move done, although Rusty is trying his best to come back, but he didn't have the DRS there. So it was gonna it was always gonna be an uphill task. And Ian ahead for now. So it's been a solid drive by Ian ever since he lost positions on lap 1. I'm sure we will hear about what happened at the end of the race. Ian also setting a purple first sector there. And Ian now ahead of Rusty, and I think Rusty, while he still gets DRS here, I think Rusty might have to start looking behind, because you got Josh coming up. And if you know Josh, you know that he essentially always, except maybe the last sector of the race, he always has a lot of battery in reserve. So if he catches up to your DRS, chances are you're not going to be able to stop him from getting past. And while I was focusing on the midfield there, Tom has gained quite handily on Engine. I think half a second from the last time I saw the gap. Down to 2.9, it was briefly down to 2.8. Engine starts lap 20 now, so it's 6 laps to go. Obviously Tom has fresher tires, but only by 1 lap. Actually, on that note, we can go through the tire age, which is, oh my days, it's on here. And also gap to the leader, which doesn't tell you a lot. I think it's better with the interval. In terms of fastest laps, you have Engine currently holding the fastest time, even though Rapid got close, but he was just not able to get there. And Josh also got... No, sorry, Josh didn't get close. I thought he was on a 34-1, but he was on a 35-1. Tom gaining another 4 tenths while I was yapping. I think this might be on. at the end. I think we might have another late race showdown for the win on our hands here. Tom has been gaining handily these last 2 laps. We're just looking at the tire edge right now, so Engine is tied for the oldest tires in the top 14 essentially. We got another spin by a Red Bull affiliated car. I think that was Chichi. Just going for a quick zip, and that was Chichi because he's dropped quite a bit of Josh now. And I think he's missing his aim plate on the left hand side there. Rapid also picked up a 3-second time penalty, so that was like... that was not a good... I was about to say not a good 15 seconds for Visa, but it's gonna be not a good 30 seconds for Visa right now, because Chichi also had an off heading into 10.5. He's locking up again. I think that is the impact of that missing end plate there. He's just not getting enough downforce necessary to brake, rotate, and turn the car. Well, turn and rotate is like the same thing, but you get what I mean. So yeah, back to the whole Engine situation. He is tied for the oldest tires in the top 14. But it is helped by the fact that his pursuer, Tom, has his tires only 1 lap fresher and also was just caught having a little bit of a moment there. So these tires are past their best now, just losing a little bit of grip for both the Kick and the McLaren. An Engine, on this occasion, more battery in reserve. Unless there is a mistake from him, or an outright Senna-like effort from Tom, I think this might be done and dusted for the victory today, and for the podium for that matter. But there are still some minor placings to be decided. So this group that we saw earlier, they have dropped Rusty, who is now being left to contend with Josh for the final position in the top 10. They have left Rusty behind, and now they're coming up to Ice One. Ice One is currently on course for one of his better results in the last couple of seasons, holding that P7, and has been very consistent all race, obviously making the most of the changeable conditions. And actually, Ice One was one of the first people to finish qualifying, so he has done remarkably well to start as high as he did and to stay there, to stay around that area. But he now might lose a few positions. We got Barnes on the attack, and Ice One is out of battery. Barnes will be able to draw alongside, but as I said before, you want to be on the inside if you're battling into that corner. On that occasion, however, the Ferrari made the outside work, which I'm quite impressed with, to be honest. Aswan is going to try to re-challenge, but unfortunately I don't think he has the battery in his pocket to do that. He's not gonna have to look behind, because behind he's got Ian. And Ian is hungry for another top 10 finish here. He's also hungry for the wall, it looks like. It looked like he tried to get a huge bite out of it. Hopefully it did not bite him back and did not bite his front wing off. You can see he has a front row seat to this battle ahead. Iceman was trying to re-challenge Barnard, but unfortunately he could not do anything about it. And we are now in the closing stages. Yeah, I mean that undercut. I have to use the word insane for that, because I was just there telling how 2 seconds, you can gain 2 seconds with a good undercut, and he just went and gained 2.6 with a single lap of undercut. And ever since then he's just managed his tires, managed his battery. And Tom is losing time to him again now. So yeah, we are now on the third to last lap. Tom and Engine have started the third to last lap. And I'm gonna have to start considering my options for driver of the day, which I've got quite a few of. I mean, Tom and Alex Hendricks, to be fair. I mean, you could argue that their opening laps alone, as you saw the Ian get past Ice One, their opening lap alone were enough to put them in contention for driver of the day. I mean, gaining like, 6 and 9 positions respectively, if I remember correctly. We've also got Ice One having one of his best races in quite some time. I would have to put him up there in my driver of the day contention as well. And who else really is there? I mean, another option I have is just give it to Spartan, because Spartan is continuing on. And he's gonna pick up some points. Obviously, you are deducted points for pitting and quitting. Spartan has been involved in at least 3 incidents that I can recall. And he is just soldiered on a track that he has clearly not gotten up to grips with yet. So that is another option for driver of the day. But for the time being, we're just gonna focus on this battle. Ian is just creeping into the DRS of Barnes, but the car is getting really, really happy on the rear end there. Obviously, tires just not gripping up as much as they used to. Ice One is still in this battle, don't get me wrong. He is lower on battery, but he is in with DRS. I've also got another battle developing here, and I forgot about Rusty. That is another driver of the day contender there. We got someone off at the beginning of the high-speed section, or rather quite in front. Oh, Ice One picks up a penalty. You hate to see that. He was doing so well, and now if Rusty just gets stuck closer to him, Ice One might be out of the top 10. That is really, really unfortunate for him at this late stage of the race. Brian was also having a spin there. So Spartan and Brian both not really liking this track that much, it seems like. There's another yellow there, but it didn't seem like there was any major spin there. We're just gonna leave the top 6 to their own devices. I don't think there's gonna be any position changes. I mean, the closest gap is between P1 and P2, and that's over 3 seconds. So we're just gonna stick to these guys. And we're just gonna keep an eye on the guys behind them. So Rusty knew what was coming. Rather than just burn battery constantly to try and maintain, to try and keep Josh out of DRS, he reverted to saving his battery instead. But Josh has even more battery. I mean, you're up for a tough challenge if you want to out-conserve Josh in terms of battery usage. That's for sure. Unfortunately, Ice One is gonna be out of DRS, and I think he will fall into the clutches of Rusty and Josh and just pick up P11, which is an unfortunate ending to his race. But still, if you are watching this back, I want to give a shout out to you, Ice One. That was a nice performance from you here tonight. The leaders have started the final lap. I'm just gonna keep an eye on them on the minimap, just switch to them when they come back around to the start-finish lap. For the time being, we're just gonna stay on board with these guys. And also keep an eye on the battle for P9 between Rusty and Josh. Ian is really close, but he needs to keep in mind if he makes this move here, he just might get repassed on the longer straight. And Barnas knows that as well. He's baiting Ian to go for this move. Ian is in none, but still he has enough overspeed to draw alongside Barnas. He also knows what is coming though, so he backs off, drives over the car, just loses the car ever so slightly. And these guys are both high on battery, so it might come down to the exit on the left-hander coming, heading onto the main straight. As we can now see, Engine in that Sauber, in that pin green machine, he's gonna come across the line and it's gonna be the winner of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Engine takes round 2 here in FLR Season 9. Tom Gomprov comes home in P2. He will now take the actual championship lead. He's now not gonna have any reserves in front of him. He's gonna have the actual person with most points after 2 rounds. Alex Hendricks will come home to take a very well-deserved P3 as well. Podium finish for him. And now we'll just see there was a yellow flag as well there. But now we'll see how this ends up. And I think it indeed came down to the exit. And that exit was just much better for Barnes, and Ian, even with the area, just couldn't make up the distance. And Rusty holding off Josh quite nicely. And you know what? I've made my mind up. Rusty is gonna be my driver of the day for this one. He's just about gonna miss out on P9, but that is still a very nice top 10 finish. As I said, top 10 was always gonna be a nice result in the home race for Haas, and he managed to bring it home here, ever so close to P9 as well. So Rusty driver of the day for me. But everyone raced very nicely today. There were a few brushes, a few spins, but nothing too major. Some people are obviously gonna be left disappointed, but that is how those things go. You cannot satisfy 19 drivers at once when they are competitive and racing against each other. Domi comes up to P12, so that is another person that I want to shout out. Obviously not giving up after his adventures. If I see him disconnect again next week, I'm gonna have a bit of heartache. I mean, there's only so much time, there's only so many times that it can happen to someone and just be an incident. Like at some point there's an underlying problem there, and that is just unfortunate because you can control that. Like sometimes it just feels like the EA servers just hate you. But that's about it. From the game, driver of the day is Alex Hendricks. From me, that's Rusty. Josh Moss overtakes. Obviously, he would have got that because of his two-stop, and cleanest drivers go to Puko. Got Engine in P1, followed by Tom Goprow, Alex Hendrick in P3, Puko in P4, Rapid in P5 versus Span, and lost the opportunity to fight for the win there. Panda in P6, followed by the other Ferrari in P7, Marshall P8, Atwan P9, Rusty P10, Josh P11, Domi P12, Kelly P13, Chichi P14, Brian P15, Spartan P16, Unknown Pro not classified, but he's in P17 here, Nimra in P18, Welsh Benjamin there in P19, and I will just about go through the entire race director in time. And that is it for this race. We are going to Italy next week, so it's going to be quite a long journey over the Atlantic to arrive in Emilia-Romagna. But we'll catch you there. Engine is your winner for today. Rusty is my driver of the day. And have a good evening.